Got our FARO Focus S150. This process is going to be the same for the 350, the Premier Series, as well as the X330. Gently remove the scanner from the case. Slide it into the quick release. We're going to remove the foam that covers the laser mirror. The S-Series units do not come with the batteries installed, so we're going to take one of the batteries out of our Pelican case, rotate to the non-screen side of the scanner. There's a small button underneath we'll pull on. It opens up the back of the case. Then we're going to go ahead and insert the battery gently until it clicks. Now we're going to press the power button on the top, hold it down for 3 seconds or until the blue LED light begins to blink. It's going to go through a few minutes of its startup process. We'll come back and take a look at how we're going to program our project and just how easy it is to get out of the field to start collecting data. Now that our scanner has booted up, this should be the opening screen that you see. If for some reason a different screen shows up, simply go with the arrows back to the center, which is going to be a FARO opening screen. We'll go down to the bottom right hand corner because we are going to name our project now. There's only 2 things that we need to do. That's one of them. Our option of projects and clusters is the first option on the screen. And here we're going to create our project and give it a name. So we're going to just simply hit the plus button. Then we're going to choose that project, then go into the default project first option. This is where we're going to give the project our name. We'll simply delete what's there. Give it a name. Now we can go back to our opening screen. The last thing we're going to do is go back into Manage, go to Profiles, our second option. You see the different profiles. Profiles are the settings that the scanner gets, telling it if it's going to be scanning indoors, outdoors, basically the number of points that you want to use to scan your project. An indoor setting is generally fewer points per scan. An outdoor setting would be more points per scan. So if you scroll down to the bottom of the options, you'll see the scanner is going to arrive from Atlantic Laser Scanning in an outdoor far distances setting. If you're going to be scanning inside of a building, inside of a room, inside of a warehouse, a power plant, you can just simply go to the bottom where there are Atlantic Laser Scanning presets, and the indoor presetting is an option that you can take. Now, if for some reason you name your project and completely forget to change the settings to an indoor setting, it's just fine. If you go and scan inside of an office building and you're set on the outdoor far distance setting, you're just going to have longer scans from 3 or 4 minutes to maybe 7.5 minutes, and you're going to have more points per scan. There's nothing to be worried about. But assuming that you did remember to do this, you're going to go into the indoor setting. We can go back to our home screen. We can go back to our home screen. And if the person that's performing the scan in the field is different than the person who programmed it, they may want to check the settings prior to doing the scans in the field. To do this, they simply need to go to the top option here. There's a small arrow, and it's going to give the name of the project, the profile, the resolution, everything that we just programmed the scanner for, so they know when they get to the project that everything's set up correctly. Now all there is left to do is hit our button and we can begin scanning. Let's go take a look at a project that's already been scanned, where the scanner setups were, and why we chose to set them up that way. Now we've simply finished our project, taken the SD card out of the scanner after we shut it down. we put it into our laptop with our FARO SCENE software. This is the opening screen you're going to see. We've got 6 scans in the project, and we're just simply going to go into registration. There were no targets used, so there's no pre-processing that's going to be necessary. So we use the toggle for registration. We have the option to perform an automatic registration, which is what we're going to do today. We check the method on the left-hand side where it says top view and cloud to cloud. That is the default option that we want to use. These are the other options. We'll go ahead and stay with top view and cloud to cloud. Go to the top right-hand corner. We can choose register and verify. There's really nothing else that we need to make any adjustments to. Now the project is small. It'll only take a couple minutes. So we'll let that go through its process. Then we're going to come back, take a look at the project, do a couple different things to show where we scanned and why we scanned there. So Scene has finished its registration. It's asking if we'd like to load the points of each of the scans. We're going to say yes. What this is going to do is show us in 3D the scan locations. Each scan is a different color. So we can see the points from each scan and how they overlap and where they're associated in space. So we can clearly see that they are in the right locations in the scan project. We've got good overlap, which is important. If the scans are too far apart and the overlap's not good enough, we can't maintain that 1 to 4 millimeter accuracy. So on the left-hand side, are the scans registered correctly? We're going to say yes and hit finish, and then just choose to return to the dashboard. We can go to the top Explore option, and we'll go ahead and close this out. Now, the project is completed. If we needed to simply export this in Recap for use in AutoCAD or in Revit or any of these point cloud, downward workflow options, we could just simply go to the top right-hand corner and go to export. We have many different videos showing this process, but today we want to actually take a look at the project, the locations of the scans, and why we chose to scan in those locations. So to do that, we are going to need to create a clip box. We're going to look at the data, and we can look at it really quickly here. We will load our scans. Here's our basic project. What we would like to do is look at the inside of this building without having the obstruction of the roof. So in order to do that, we're going to create a clip box and melt away some of the data. We can do that easily. It's a temporary way to melt the points away. And all we have to do is simply go to the right-hand corner on the top and hit the project point cloud and create. We say yes, and give it 5 or 10 minutes to create the project point cloud to enable us to use our clip box. We've got our project point cloud. Now this data might look the same as it did before, but what it allows us to do is, if you look on the side here on our tree, none of the scans are loaded. Therefore, this could be 6 scans, it could be 60 scans. It's a very easy for your computer to handle. And it also allows us to create a clip box here. Now, one of the things we can do is straighten our clip box a little bit to match the walls. And this is going to allow us to then see as much of the data as we want and hide as much of the data as we want to hide. In this case, we simply want to get rid of this roof and look in the inside at where our scan locations are. Now, we began our scan project down here in the hallway. That's scan number 1. Scan number 1 only sees from its perspective. It can't see around corners.
So it's really only able to see scan number 2 location in what's called a threshold scan. Very important scan is at the mouth of the hallway. The threshold scan sees the limited view of the first scan, but it also sees into the open area of the rest of the room. It's important when you're using a terrestrial scanner or a scanner that is on a tripod that you clearly see the data from the previous scan moving forward. So you can see where scans 1 and 2 came together. Now it's very easy for scan 2 to see the data at scan 3. Now we move to the middle of the room for scan 4. Scan 4 clearly sees the data from scan 3 and even sees the data from scan 2. And then the final 2 scans down here in the bottom, again, clearly see the line of sight from all of them. This is a principle that you must remember. It's all line of sight when it comes to registering and properly scanning in the field. If you scanned your first scan in a limited view, like a hallway here, you must have a threshold scan that introduces all the rest of the data to that line of sight. Follow these principles. You'll never have any problem getting your scans to register when you're back from the field. It's all principle based. You can do this. Good luck.